Okay, hello everyone. Just testing out a few things here to see if this is going to be working before we get going. Um, I know it takes a little while for something to translate to the internet, so I think we are now officially rolling. Just if you don't mind, if you would like to join in the chat, if you're watching via YouTube, you should be able to see the chat option right there next to you. If you joined us through the group leader portal, just click on the video and hit the YouTube logo in the bottom corner, and that'll take you to the YouTube page to view this. And from there, you can take part in the chat. Just curious, those of you joining us on chat, if you can just make some kind of a comment that you're actually hearing me and everything's working fine. So it's a beautiful Friday morning, reminding us of winter, what winter was supposed to be like in Iowa. All right. So I'm again sporting the awesome, cool heads-up. Thanks to the Catholic Schools Office for sponsoring this event. And let's go ahead and dive right in. I'm just going to just try to remember how to do a few things. So like share my screen. So how do I do that? I'm going to share this one. Okay, you should be seeing my screen that has my little NCYC presentation on it. I'm just making sure that that's coming through. So welcome to everybody who's from the Archdiocese of Dubuque, learning more about NCYC and how our delegation is going to happen this year. Also, welcome to anybody who's not from the Archdiocese who's trying to steal my ideas. Good to have you here. All right, welcome. So let's dive right into this real quick in this morning in Lent with just a quick call to an awareness of God's presence in our lives. Dear God, send your Spirit to be with us this morning. Help our conversation to be fruitful. Help us to be mindful of you and our work. Help us to let ourselves and our egos get out of the way so that your Spirit can work in our ministries. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. So I got a lot to go through today. This is one of those presentations you're going to maybe want to watch again, but as I say that, I'm also typing up and I hope to have sent out to you all this afternoon kind of the list of the points that we've talked about. So please feel free to come back and view this again, because that's just cool to be able to do that. But also just be aware that a lot of this stuff will be sent to you in a Word doc so that you can share it with people as you see fit. I just want to go through this. This is always kind of an important thing for us this time of year. Our official Archdiocesan delegation is 1,846. That means if you look at your group leaders portal, all of the groups have numbers that total up to that. We do have, as of this morning, 48 people on the waiting list. I was able to sell one spot this morning. We have room for about 46 though. What that means is we have enough hotel space, in theory, to put in 1,892 people. We have officially added the rooms to our block to allow for that growth. There are 2 people on the waiting list. There's no reason really why we can't allow those 2 people in too, because when we're talking about a group this size, any kind of estimates as how many people will be in a room don't really make any difference until we actually start putting people in. So the soonest I get room lists and room assignments from people, and the best you can do to put those rooms into tight groupings, so as many 4-person groupings as possible for your teens, that's what's going to be helpful. So if you've got 5 kids, I just had this conversation with somebody this week. If you've got 5 boys, for example, it would be best for me if you put them into a group of 4 with 1 Lone Ranger, strong personality kid who wouldn't mind meeting 3 new people in a room. That will allow me to fill up some room spaces the best as possible. That's the best way for us to get more people to go. Now, if I don't need to do that, I won't, but that's the kind of thing that'd be helpful. Everybody on the waiting list will be added at the end of this month, and so you'll officially see them get caught up, I think is the proper English. Somebody can correct me on that, but they'll be caught up officially at the end of March, which means in your group leader portal, you'll see your group size change, and you will see an additional charge in your financial records for their January payment, because anybody you're adding now has not made a January payment yet. So you'll see that effective in your group leader portal as well. We are going to be sending out invoices for the April's $100 non-refundable payment. That's going to be coming out probably in the 1st or 2nd week of April. With Easter coming in there and Holy Week, it might not come out before Easter. So don't feel excited about paying for things. Make sure you wait until you get that invoice. Work with your parish bookkeeper to make sure it's going to the right place. pay the full amount on the invoice. That's very important. Even if you've reduced your group size after the invoice was issued and you think you're going to actually owe less, please pay the full amount. If the invoice wasn't for as much as it's supposed to be, please pay the invoiced amount. That makes things a lot easier for a finance office. We will make all the credits and charges changes that we need to reflective on the upcoming invoices. So we can make those changes that'll be in effect then by the July payment. So anyway, if you have any group changes to make, if you have any spots you might want to get rid of, now's the time to do that because you will be billed $100 for those people in April. And as like I said, the waiting list will be going away at the end of March. So if you book 10 people and you pay for 10 people in April, but you only need 8, there's going to be a whole new waiting list starting after April. So there's no guarantee that you'll be able to sell those spots. So you'll be on the hook for $100, $150, really, the January payment and the April payment for those spots. So if you do need to reduce your group size, now is the time to do it. Okay. We have booked talent for our Thursday afternoon mini rally. For those of you who are new, when you arrive to Indianapolis on Thursday afternoon, we try to put your kids in the ballroom at the Wyndham. We'll have about 900 people in there because that's just how big you've grown our group per wave. So we do two different sessions. So the first group that shows up, the kids go into a room, and Project YM is real experiential based youth ministry. So it's going to be up and moving around. It's going to be conversational. It's going to be using technology. So they're really good at engaging. That's why we're going with them. So Project YM will be engaging our teens. At the same time, adult leaders, group leaders specifically, will be heading across the hall to a conference room to get your information packets and your credentials for your young people. So all of that will be happening simultaneously. We talked about forms a lot last week, so if you need more help on what those forms are, please go back and view last month's live streaming update. Basically, the forms you need to be talking about are the individual registration form. That one gets you information. You keep those. Do not send them to us. You'll have an Archdiocesan youth form that is unique to your group. It lists all of the parishes in the paragraph that are going from your group. That was emailed out to all of you last month. If you did not get one or need me to resend it, please let me know. The adult Archdiocesan adult form is really simple and basic, just one paragraph, very easy. Hotel rooming list form, again, that's available on the website. This is where you tell me how you want your people to be grouped. That's going to be helpful for me. As far as we know, there is still no word about an NCYC form. So as far as we know, we're not going to plan on collecting that. If they let us know that we need one, we will tackle that when we hear about that. I'm curious, if you don't mind entering in the chat for those of you who are capable, just if you're curious, if you're planning to collect these forms and send them to us before the end of April, we just want to know about how many of you are thinking of that so we can do our planning on this side. The sooner we get those forms in, the sooner we can start verifying people and getting them locked into hotel rooms, and just the better off we'll be on this side. And then that gives Jim Betzner work to do over the summer. So if you don't mind entering the chat when your plan is. If it's not going to be in April, that's fine. It would be great if you could, but I understand not everybody can do it that way. So just go ahead and send that in via chat if you don't mind. Okay. And if you like I said, I don't want to put any pressure on you. It's just that's a great help for us if you're going to be doing that in March or April. Okay, just keep those comments coming in. So this was a fun question. I want you all to know this one. You're going to hear me say this a lot. What is the most important date of NCYC 2017? The answer is the Monday after NCYC. This is not about just going somewhere. It's about building up for what's coming next. So I want you always to be thinking about what's going on after NCYC. So I'm going to just steer you through a little conversation about some things about comprehensive ministry and how NCYC works with that. Oh, well, before I do that, future plans, okay? This is all going to be sent to you in your graphic in the Word doc I'm going to send out this afternoon or later this morning. But just to give you a sense of the schedule of what you can be working on. Again, in March, you should be collecting money. April, you should be paying it and sending in forms if you can. In May, we recommend a chaperone training. June, collecting $200 to pay the July invoice of $200. August, collect $200. Finalize forms. All forms are due, absolute hard, fast deadline, September 1st. We need to have them in by September 1st. Anything after that, we will be charging you for a data entry fee and a late fee. Okay, so please, 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 please get your forms into us by September 1st. You're right. They're all faith mentors, not chaperones, but same thing. Okay. Well, you know what I mean. They're not the same thing, but chaperones can also be faith mentors. Good job, Martin. Okay. September, October, we want you doing preparation sessions with your teens and adults. I want you in November. This is kind of important. The days of NCYC itself. I show here pickup times, approximates. We'll let you know what those are probably in October once we get the bus schedule figured out. But I do want you to look at the red text here and start working now to plan what you can do for a parent viewing session of those live streaming general sessions that are going on at NCYC. So my hope is that every group that has a delegation going to NCYC, every one of your groups has some way for the parents of your teens to get together on that Thursday, Friday, and Saturday to watch the general sessions and live streaming and pray for their young people. I'm hoping you can have a volunteer, one of those parents coordinate that. Maybe it's, if you're a youth minister, maybe ask the CRE if they can help with that. Whatever it looks like at your site, my challenge to each of you is to find a way to do that. Will the Toby Mac concert be live streamed? It's my hunch. It's my thought that because that's part of it. King and Country was broadcast last year. I'm pretty sure, wasn't it? I should know that. But I don't. So I'm pretty sure, Martin, that Toby Mac will be streamed also. Okay. Update on one more thing schedule-wise. Chaperone training sessions. I'm trying to lock these in as much as possible. Again, these will all be sent to you this afternoon, but we're all planning all of them for October. A wide variety of nights and locations from across the diocese. My hope is that all adults, including you, will be able to attend these training sessions. If they've gone before, I get that question a lot. If they've gone as a chaperone 15 times, do they need to go to this again? The answer is not really, but it's a good night for them to come and hear about the events going on and start building up some momentum for NCYC. So I try to make them as quick and efficient as possible. I try to also make them formative. You know, if you've gone in the past and just haven't found them to be helpful, I'm not gonna tell your group they can't go to NCYC if your chaperones don't go. But it is a good time to get together for all of our adults. We do collect some information from them, and we'll talk about how we communicate at NCYC with them and stuff like that. So keep me posted, all right? But those are the dates, and I've got a couple more sites waiting to hear back from yet. So I will try to have that confirmed list sent to you as soon as I have that finalized. Okay, another chat conversation. I am curious what you think about this. I give you 8 multiple choice responses. When you think about what gets you the most excited about NCYC, I want you to look at this list of 8 things and say, which of these do you think is your favorite part of NCYC? Now, if you want to list 2, that's fine. Just to read them out loud in case you have a hard time seeing the screen. Number 1, so you really like the fact that NCYC brings a new energy that's going to be able to change your parish and grow your ministry. Maybe NCYC is exciting because it helps to teach teens about their faith. Maybe it's about building community with your teens. Maybe it's NCYC is how you reach out to new teens or people you don't normally see in your program. Maybe it's about all the work that we do at NCYC to help learn about service and justice and provide service experiences in the thematic park. Maybe it's about forming leaders, both teens and adults. Again, go ahead. Thanks, Martin. Jumping in here. Type in your number. Which is it that's most exciting for you? Maybe it's tending to the needs of your teens, so reaching out to them and being compassionate for them. What about the wonderful prayer and sacraments? We've heard a lot of those things too. So just if you're on the live chat, just go ahead and type in the thing that you think is most exciting for you about NCYC. I'm seeing a lot of people see 8, building community, reaching out to new teens, prayers and worship, forming leaders, a toss-up between 3 and 8, building community and the wonderful prayer experiences. 3 and 4, reaching out to new and engaged teens, teaching teens about, helping teens learn about their faith, a new energy to change your parish. It's a wide variety of answers. Now, before I move on, does anybody know how I came up with this list of 8 topics? Anybody want to weigh in here? Anybody want to guess? Let me go to the next slide, see if this is a hint. I'd like you to imagine not just NCYC as being effective at these 8 things, but your entire parish's youth ministry program. Good guess, Lynn. Nope. So imagine your whole parish's comprehensive youth ministry focusing on speaking on behalf of the young people, helping them to learn about their faith, working on community life. Zeke wins, renewing the vision. So today I just want to focus a little bit about the 8 components of youth ministry. Very, very simple. Yep. Well done, all of you youth ministry nerds who are coming in with renewing the vision right after Zeke did it. Good work, Zeke. You win a cookie. Next time I see you, remind me I owe you a cookie. All right, so these are the 8 components of youth ministry as identified in the USCCB document called Renewing the Vision. Renewing the Vision, I think, was written in 1998 or 1997, so it's been around for a while. In fact, Dr. Bob Rice out of Steubenville is doing some work now called Revisioning the Renewal of Youth Ministry. The image is blurry. I apologize, Charlene. Anyway, moving on. Not much I can do. So anyway, the 8 components focus on an expanded understanding of what youth ministry is. A lot of times people approach ministry with teens with one of these 8 things in mind and say, this is what youth ministry needs to be. And so they created a list that was kind of bigger than what any one person can do. So if you're looking at this list that we just talked about and think, well, that's more than I'm capable of doing. Whatever your position is, however many hours are allocated to your ministry, if you're saying that's more than what you can do, I want you to realize that that's more than what you can do, but that's still what your parish is called to do. So that's when we talk about coordinators of youth ministry versus youth ministers. We're talking about building a comprehensive ministry requires more than just you doing it. Shameless plug, on May 5th, Frank Mercadante from Cultivation Ministries will be at our youth ministry conference and retreat talking about ways to grow your parish's ministry to young people. So just a shameless plug, you'll see more about that later. But here's what I want you to think about, some questions for you as you look at what NCYC is about for you this fall, to start asking some questions about what can NCYC do to build comprehensive ministry, both in how you approach NCYC itself for those 3 days in November, but also how you respond to NCYC November 20th and beyond. Okay, so here's some questions, and I'm going to send these out to you later this morning or this afternoon, and I want you to take these questions into consideration. Bring them to your pastor, your faith formation commission, your parish staff, your faith mentors. Martin, bring them to your chaperones and say, what can we do realistically to respond to NCYC's excitement to grow our parish's ministry for our young people? And if it's going to be more work, what do we need to do to equip ourselves for that work? This is the time to be having those conversations about what's coming on 9 months from now, not in 9 months. So that's why we're putting this out here first. So when it comes to advocacy, advocacy is really not only speaking on behalf of the needs of young people in your parish, but also speaking on behalf of everybody who needs a voice. So the marginalized and disenfranchised. So how can NCYC give teens a greater voice in their parish? And can NCYC be the start of a conversation of something greater? When people get excited about NCYC, parishes tend to want to reinvest in their youth ministry program because of its positive effect. Catechesis, I think we all have a familiarity with the understanding of catechesis. Some of us try to think that youth ministry has nothing to do with catechesis, but that's entirely false. You cannot do faith formation or youth ministry without helping people to know and grow into a deeper relationship with Jesus Christ and his church. So how can NCYC be formative and informative to young people? What catechesis is readily available for them when they return? In a few weeks, you're going to see the results of the annual faith formation report that we asked all of you to complete. And we see, again, this continual trend that we have a certain number of freshmen enrolled in faith formation programs, and then the number of sophomores drops by 25%, and then that's cut in half by the time they're a junior year in high school, and that's again cut in half by the time they're a senior in high school, that it seems to me, just looking at the big picture, that we do not, as a diocese, do a great job of having catechesis readily available for people when they come back from NCYC. There's a challenge, okay? There's a challenge. Community life is the third component of youth ministry, and that's really about how do we help people know what it means to be part of a community. So how can NCYC do that? How can it build a stronger sense of Catholic identity and affiliation for your teens? Now, I will say, and you all have heard me say this, some of you veterans, when we do our youth assessment on the bus ride home from NCYC, one of the strongest things they say is that NCYC helped them to build a sense of a greater Catholic identity. And that's something NCYC is going to be pretty strong at. It's hard to walk away from that conference without being excited about our Catholic faith. But how can you maintain that community in your parish? Not just for those young people who are gone, but how can you build that sense of community for the entire parish community when you return? Evangelization, sometimes we talk about evangelization as that outreach part of our faith, where we're proclaiming the gospel, or we're trying to introduce people to the person of Jesus. The church talks about evangelization as a much bigger concept, but it really is that sharing the good news of the reign of God, that God is here, and sharing that original charisma. That Archbishop talks about that in 5 points. And if you ever hear his 5-finger gospel, that basically says the God who knows and loves you, and he loves you so much that he sent his son who died and rose for you so that you can be with him in heaven, and that you're called to go share his love with other people. That's Archbishop's 5-finger gospel. That's evangelization. So who needs to hear that? Right? How could NCYC engage teens who are not otherwise a part of your parish's activities? So maybe you have some kids come at NCYC you've not heard of before. Are they a priority for you, or are those somebody who's just coming along? Know that 20% of our teens go to NCYC to have fun, but that's okay, because those 20% need to hear the gospel. So what can we do to re-evangelize or evangelize those who have been inoculated to the faith? Have you heard that phrase? When Dr. Sean Reynolds was in our diocese, he talked about people being faith inoculated, which means they've had just enough of it, of a dead version of it, to think that they don't want any of it. A lot of people have heard what they think is the faith and have declined it. How do we re-engage those people with an authentic sense of joy in our relationships with Jesus? Number 5 is justice and service. This is kind of obvious to us, but teaching about justice, teaching about how we live out our faith. How can NCYC open the eyes of our young people to the needs and diversity of the world? So if you go to Indianapolis and you spend any time on the streets, you're going to see homelessness. If you go to the thematic park and walk around, you're going to see a lot of exhibits that help us to expand our visions for the needs of the world. What do we need to do after NCYC to make our Christian faith a lived reality for the teens that we serve? So how do we help make Christianity something more than just a concept or content of our faith, but a lived reality for the teens that we serve? Leadership development is more than just forming young people to give them a leadership voice. It's also about forming our adults. You will hear me talk a lot about the work we're going to do to form and sustain our adult leaders. We spend a lot more work from this office talking to adults than we ever will talking to teens, because adult leadership is critical to grow a strong youth ministry. So that's why we have a chaperone appreciation dinner in January or February, but we don't regather the teens from NCYC. It's our hope that we're equipping you and supporting you in that ministry. Why do we do all the administrative work that we do here? Why do Jim Betzner and I work so hard? It's because we want you to have the time to do what you need to do to be with your kids. Just checking the chat real quick. Is everybody else still with me? Somebody just said that they lost me, which has happened before. Anybody? Okay. Thanks, Zeke. As long. All right. So that's leadership development. What help do you need to make your parish's youth ministry stronger is really the thing that you got to keep in mind. All right. Pastoral care is about taking care of the needs of the people who you come in contact with in your parish community, whether it's mental or physical or social needs. How can NCYC heal the pain that some of your young people face? And what more can your parish do to ensure that all young people and their families are supported and strengthened? Okay, pastoral care is one of those outreach pieces of our youth ministry where we're really tending to the needs of our young people, whatever those needs may be. The Youth Ministry Leader Conference and Retreat we did last year focused with Catholic Charities, but how do we meet the mental health needs of our young people? How do we work with professionals to do that? So that's a pastoral care outreach. NCYC is a way to get that door open and work in. Patty, maybe just restart. You're back. Okay. Number 8, prayer and worship is the last one, the final one. This is something that's kind of a obvious strength of NCYC, that our prayer experiences are more than what we can tend to do at our parishes. I do want to point out one of the things that we ask young people is, will NCYC get you more excited about being part of your parish's Sunday assembly, your parish's communal worship experiences? And that is one of the lowest ranked scores on our NCYC evaluation. Teenagers leave NCYC hoping that all of the prayer experiences they have will be like those at NCYC. Well, please do what you can to help them understand that that's an artificially inflated expectation. None of our parishes, I've got a chance to look into the budget of what NCYC costs. None of our parishes are going to be able to spend that kind of money to have a house band doing mass for them. None of our parishes are going to have sound and lights and the cost that comes with that for each Sunday assembly. So to set up the expectation that prayer and worship needs to be high energy with that kind of music is kind of deceiving to our young people. So the best we can do, whatever you can do, to help them understand that there are a variety of prayer experiences that we can replicate from NCYC. I'm seeing comments on here. Have them do adoration and reconciliation again. Oh, by the way, yeah, they're probably going to do that. But we can do adoration and reconciliation at home, right? I mean, there's nothing stopping us from replicating some of the prayer experiences at NCYC. But also help them to know that the God that we're praying at our parishes, even if it's old Aunt Ethel playing the pipe organ with one finger, that's the same Jesus we're worshiping and experiencing in the Eucharist as it is at NCYC. The way we celebrate with music needs to be better. We know that Archbishop is focusing on that with one of his pastoral priorities being how we engage people in the Sunday assembly. You'll be hearing a lot about how we do that and how we engage in the Sunday assembly and the witness. He's got a series of articles coming out called The Fourth H, which is how do we do this? Archbishop is very strong about improving our worship experiences back home. So my goal is that we help our young people to do communal worship when they get back in a much stronger way after NCYC 2017. Okay, so we can't just let that end. All right, like I said, this is just a list of questions I'd like you to explore. I think these are helpful in kind of growing our ministry. And so you come back to NCYC, right? And we see here's the 8 components now that we walk through them. And it gives you a sense of how comprehensive that document is and how helpful it might be for us to start thinking about ways that we engage young people comprehensively through our experience with the National Conference. What can NCYC do for you? So it's our goal that we would like to have NCYC accomplish these 3 things. Okay, to empower young people to live as disciples. So when they come back, they take seriously their life choices. We want, this is a harder one, to draw them back into the life of the parish community. It's our goal in youth ministry to build active, conscious participants in our parish community. Knowing how to be a parishioner is a life skill that will escape them if we're not involving them at this point. So in 5 to 10 years, we should believe that 50% of our NCYC participants will no longer be practicing their Catholic faith. Because that's the stats. We need to stop that and change that trend. So how do we help them using this initiative from NCYC to push them deeper into the active life of the full parish community? And then to foster the spiritual growth of each young person and their adult companions. Hey, by the way, those are the 3 goals of youth ministry as stated in Renewing the Vision. If you'd like to read the document more or reread the document, if you don't have it in your office, a copy, you can find it online. Here's the link, or just search Renewing the Vision. It'll probably come up. Okay, the USCCB has the full text right there for free. So if you want a hard copy, you can order those. I think they're $8. But otherwise, if you're okay reading it online, it's free. It's worth spending some time to do that. And this is the kind of stuff, again, you don't need to have all of the adults in your parish read it. It's a bit too much for that. It's really for those of us in leadership. If you've got a strong core team, yeah, maybe you want to push them there. What I'd recommend for you to do with your catechists or your chaperones, faith mentors for this program is to just walk through the questions we just did and overview the components so they get a sense of what we're trying to be at this time. What's the most important date of NCYC? You're going to hear me say this over and over and every day after that. All right, now just a few updates. So next live streaming event will be Friday, April 7th. It's my brother's birthday. Then we're going to talk about what can we do this summer, strategies for the summer, and how do we engage people in those low times. May 12th, June 9th, August 11th, September 8th, October 13th. These are the dates. I'm going to put them in that update, that written update I'm going to send out this afternoon. You'll have that, and just kind of what I'm thinking for the topics for those future live streaming events. If you can think of other topics that you think we need to explore that we haven't yet, I'm definitely open for suggestions. So please just let me know. That's cool. All right. Here's another fun thing. This is kind of a big deal. So a few years ago, you might have remembered that we had a big survey going across the diocese in preparation for the synod Pope Francis was having on marriage and family. Well, Pope Francis is doing another synod in 2018 on young people, the faith, and vocational discernment. So Archbishop Jacobs has tasked us with having as many people between the ages of 16 and 29 as possible give us feedback about their experience in the Catholic Church, positive, negative, or indifferent. So we've created a youth survey, and here's the link to it. This is for 16-year-olds and older. So I'm assuming a lot of you have confirmation programs for 15-year-olds. So if you have any of those meetings yet, it might not be appropriate for them to fill it out because they're not quite 16. But if you want to have them go through it, that's totally fine. They can just say they're under 16 on the survey. We still want to hear from them. If you've got juniors and senior confirmation programs for 11th and 12th graders, it would be great. It would be great if you could encourage them to take 15 or 20 minutes during a gathered session or put this link on a card to send out to them. That would be awesome. This is a link specifically for kids in high school. We're going to have different links for different groups of people. Catholic high schools are all going to be doing this. It's our hope that they will all be doing this through their theology courses. There's a different link we're setting up for them just to make it easier for tracking where we're going. So this is for in parish programs. If you've got teens gathered, if you've got youth programming, youth group, or whatever else you've got, if you've got Y disciple groups for older teens, please do what you can to encourage their feedback. If you have any access to teenagers who are not otherwise engaged in programming, so even those kids who may have been baptized Catholic and really haven't done anything since their first communion or baptism, if you've got a way to connect with those kids, I don't know how that could be, please encourage them to fill this out. We want to hear about their experiences and their struggles. So that's what this survey is for. The question is, will there be a bulletin announcement? The answer is yes. We're going to be doing targeted publicity in early April so that families who come to church on Easter can do their job to engage people, because we're thinking Easter is a way to engage those 21 to 29-year-olds. So we'll have a different survey link that'll be going out for the 21 to 29-year-olds specifically. That just allows us to, again, see where the responses are coming from. But please stay focused for that. The survey is the same, by the way. So if you've got this survey link and you don't have the other one, they're taking them to the same survey. It just helps us to know about where they heard of the survey, so we can track people that way. Okay, that's kind of an important thing. You'll be hearing a lot more from me about that. So please stay tuned. Again, just a reminder of the Youth Ministry Leader Conference and Retreat coming up May 5th and 6th. Costs ranges from $10 to $95. Just so you know, when you're doing the online registration, the cost options will not appear until you pick your method of payment. So one of the questions is, how would you like to pay? There's a bill me later option, or there's a credit card payment option. As soon as you click that, then the list of costs will arrive, will show up, so you can check which one you want to register for. Those costs are also available. You can see what they are on the flyer. If you go to dbqarch.org/events and go to May 5th, you can see the flyer on the events page, and that lists all the details of the event. Again, Frank Mercadante talking from Cultivation Ministries, talking about growing your parish's ministry. We'll have a mini retreat that evening, followed by our infamous campfire. If you'd like to stay over, you're welcome to do so. And then Saturday morning will be resource sharing and networking, sharing ideas with each other. That's the plan. Any questions about anything else at this point? And waiting. So I know there's a delay, and people. While we're doing that, I'm going to try to do something fun here. I'm going to see if I can share something else. While questions are coming in, you said that there was a youth and an adult registration form. Was I hearing that correct? Not registration form, Catherine, waivers. So there is a youth waiver that was specific to your parish that was sent out. The adult waiver is on the website, dbqarch.org/NCYCGL, the group leader page. You scroll down, you'll see the adult form there. Okay, not registration form. The individual registration form is for both youth and adults. There's a section for youth to fill out, and there's a section for adults to fill out. But that's there. Just so you know, I got a sneak peek. So we're always interested in t-shirt ideas. It's always a great question. So just showing you an idea that somebody came up with for a t-shirt for us. Again, you can say yays or nays if you'd like to. Registered in the tab for NCYC. When you want to do that, I'd say as soon as you can. It doesn't hurt to do that. Please be careful though when doing the data entry. The first field that you're going to be filling out is for their first legal name, and then you ask for their preferred name. That's if their name is Robert and they go by Bobby. You put in Robert in the first line, Bobby in the second. Bobby will appear on their name badge in their credentials. That's what that field is for. Some of you have been putting in their full name on the first field. You don't need to do that. Just their first name and then their preferred name. First name and preferred name can be the same if you'd like it. Wasn't the thing for NCYC called a few years ago? I don't think so. But anyway, this is the front of a shirt that we were thinking, and this would be the back. Call to glory. There you go, Lynn. Well done. Hey, a lot of you jumping in. All right, survey link again. I can certainly do that. Anyway, just here's a thought of a shirt, maybe in spirit of St. Patrick's Day coming up. Maybe that's why I just go with green. But I'm curious what you think, if you like the simplicity of the concept or not. I gave her the challenge to kind of go outside the box and do something kind of fun and creative. So if you've got other ideas for t-shirts, by all means, let us have it. We will not be doing a Waldo theme this year. Well, sort of. There might be something coming on that. But all right, the link for the Synod survey is coming up. Come on now. Anybody ever have a problem with technology before? Never. All right, so you should be seeing it in a few seconds. Oh, thanks, Kaylee. If you do have young people who want to try designing t-shirts, I will throw this out again. We did that last year. We can take a few t-shirt design samples from young people and we can put in a survey to have people vote on which one they like. That's what we did best. All I've known is that I like to do skin tone t-shirts, things that are like light tan and have like shipping packages printed on them, shipping labels. I really like those kinds of shirts. There it is, Martin. Thanks for jumping right in on that one. Gosh, I've never been hated more in my life than when I put out an awesome t-shirt. I kind of feel some anger from y'all about that. Yeah, that's funny. All right, so any other questions, keep them coming. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and end this right now. And then, as always, if you have any questions or concerns, don't hesitate to email me or Jim Betzner. Which one, Yvette? The brown one or this one you just saw? Because I think this one, yeah, might be much worse than the brown one, which was awesome. By the way, awesome, the brown one. Yeah, tie-dye shirts are a bit more expensive, Beth. Yeah, not awful. Again, we can do it. Yeah, so you picked up on Jesus. That was my first question to Jessica. Do you think people are going to get that a guy with long hair is Jesus? Okay, Yvette, you're wrong, but we can just agree to disagree on that. All right. Hey, folks, thanks for joining us today and being a part of this. If there's anything I can do, just let me know. And if you have any questions, let me know. Also, group size changes, very, very important. Send those to me as soon as you know anything about them. Ooh, Hunter Orange. Ooh, like Blaze Orange. That's interesting. Revisioning the renewal author again. Bob Rice, Dr. Bob Rice is working on that. He's got some, I don't know if he's written anything. He's done some workshops on it. There's a lot of people saying that this is a 20-year-old document. We've got to move it, relook at it again. A long sleeve, what do you think? Just weigh in, right? That long sleeve or short sleeve for the shirts. I think we ask this every year because it's November. We typically have done long sleeve. We've done some cool things on the sleeves in the past too, and we might do that again. Yeah, the Bitmoji Jesus, we're just checking on copyright permissions before we can move forward with that. All right. Yeah, so just keep the chat going. Otherwise, I'm going to end this, and we will all hear from you soon. Don't forget to register for the Youth Ministry Leader Conference. Let me know if group size changes. Gosh, have a good Lent. Pray hard. Okay, fast a lot, etc., etc. All right, thanks for everything you do, everybody. Talk to you later.